Welcome back, y'all. Today's video is going to be a quick review on the Redshift Arclight smart LED pedals that was sent to me by Redshift. Again, a big thank you to Redshift for supporting this channel. I truly appreciate it, and they did send me these pedals for review, but they have no dictation on what I have to say about it, my experience, and my opinions that I've formed for this video. But off the bat, they sent me these pedals, and this is the third product they've sent me for review. All three of them have been super high quality. It's very impressive. So I really got to hand it to Redshift. The quality they're producing is insanely good. So with this review, the difference is going to be, I've had these for the past few weeks on my Tracklocross bike. So it's a fixed gear. It's not a typical gravel bike. And with Tracklocross, you really thrash the bike around. Some of the components get really beat up, and these have been holding up quite well. Not to mention it being fixed gear, there was one thing that I thought off the bat where I thought the pedals were going to be a little too wide, and then when I was cornering, it was going to have some extra pedal strike as opposed to the traditional Shimano SPD pedals. But I can definitely report that these are narrow enough where it still has the traditional flat pedal shape, but it's not super wide, and pedal strike has not occurred, surprisingly. I do want to experiment with my 170mm cranks, but I have been riding 165mm cranks. Now that's actually been pretty popular with a lot of road and gravel racing and riders recently, so I think that's pretty standard where it's not too out of the ordinary, and I'm still not experiencing pedal strike. Now it is double-sided, so you can clip on both sides, which is super convenient. And another thing that you may be curious about is how are these lights staying in the pedals? And it's only by magnets, but these magnets are really, really strong. So you don't have to worry about them flying out of the pedals, and they just snap into place. And the funny thing is, there is this texture to pull them out, but sometimes you'll slip and it will snap right back into place. But I prefer it to be really magnetic instead of not too strong and then losing these lights. So when you do order this from Redshift, the box includes the pedals, the charging port, multiple parts including brand new cleats, 4 smart LED lights, more on that in a sec. And what I wasn't expecting is actual studs to put on the pedals to convert it to a flat pedal setup. Again, I did take these off of my bike so I can show you on camera, but I'm going to reinstall them and actually convert it to where it's just the SPD style pedal by itself, because usually I'm riding more in the daylight. So let me get to installing these right now. As you can see, installation is straightforward. No goofy techniques or weird tools you need to use, just the Allen key to install. 2 details again, installing this, especially on a Tracklocross build, is one, it's not as wide. I mentioned this before, but it is slightly more narrow than a traditional flat pedal setup. Another major detail I noticed is it doesn't widen your Q factor. Compared to the traditional Shimano pedals, your foot placement, whether it be in or out, is going to be exactly the same. So that was pretty impressive as well. I thought it was going to be a wider stance, but it was not. Also with the charging port, it does incorporate 4 USB slots, so you can charge all 4 lights at the same time. So the reason these are called smart LED pedals is because the lights actually know the orientation of the pedals. So the lights facing rearwards are going to be red and the lights facing forward are going to be white. I don't know how they did it. That is ridiculously cool, and it just knows. So that is something I have to give kudos to Redshift for coming up with that. Normally in cycling, I'm always preaching about riding as acoustic as possible, but there are a few exceptions, and one major one is definitely lights to be seen at night and on the road in general. And any LED light system, I'm all for no matter what. Power meters and other stuff, I'm not about, but this for sure I'm an advocate for. It's a little more rare for me to go riding at night, but the times I have been riding at night with these pedals, testing them out, I've really hit some pretty rough terrain, some rocks and stuff kicking up into the pedals and the lights, and they've held up perfectly. I haven't had any odd cracks or LED mishaps. Even with the orientation of the pedals, they put the lights in the right directions every single time. There are different modes with the LEDs such as strobing or always on, but I prefer the always on look because it looks like something out of the future. A major question I've seen online that no one's really answered is, can the front LEDs provide a headlight effect where you don't need a front light? And to be honest, I wouldn't say 100%. You can kind of see in front of you, there is a pretty bright glow, but I would still advocate for putting a proper front headlight on your setup. So don't rely on these to be able to see fully at night. You still need a headlight. But that being said, they're super bright and I'm really loving how bright they are. Another reason it's called a smart LED is because when you actually stop, it actually does turn off after, I believe, 30-45 seconds. Basically, if you stop for a long period of time, the lights shut off so you don't have to click them every time. And that's another really cool feature. Definitely conserves on the battery life for sure. Even the additional taillight that Redshift sent me, it has the exact same shape, can fit in the pedal as a backup, and it also automatically turns off when I do stop. But then as soon as you start going, any movement, it turns back on. And the pedals are oriented correctly as well. So I have these with the cages to hold the LED lights, which are called wings, and then the clipless setup on both sides. You can orient them to have clipless on one side and then flat on the other, just a flat pedal with the traction studs on the other side. So most likely after a bit, I'm going to take them off my Tracklocross bike and put them on my vintage gravel bike because I would like to practice my wheelies sometimes without being clipped in because that's really sketchy. So that would be a perfect candidate for putting these pedals one-sided clipless and the other flat pedals. But with this setup, I'm actually going to take off the wings because I've never done it before. They are side specific according to the manual, but just to see how they look without the wings and compared to the traditional Shimano SPD pedals that everyone uses. So admittedly, that was my first time removing the wings on the pedals. Super easy, but you need Torx keys. Even for the clipless pedal part, you'll need the AKA star Allen keys to remove them and install. So that's another detail that you're gonna have to have ahead of time when you do order these pedals. They're not traditional Allen keys. Like I mentioned before, the wings are side specific, and of course Redshift labeled them, super convenient. They think of everything. But that's how the pedal looks with the wings removed and not having the LED feature. So if you wanted to go for a performance-oriented ride, try to be as light as possible, which even with the LEDs, I don't think it's a ton of weight removed. But I would more so say to remove these if you have a bike you're looking to do a Grand Fondo or a race on and you don't want anything to really happen to the LED lights or lose them, this is the way to go. So you can have your setup very specific and not have to change the seat height, which, speaking of the seat height, let me segue to the next thing. These are, as you can see, a little bit thicker than the traditional Shimano SPD pedals. So your seat height may need to go up a millimeter or two, depending on your setup and everything. I did notice that, so my seat is adjusted accordingly, but it's not too big of a factor, to be honest. As you can see, there's a better left-right platform for the Redshift pedals rather than the Shimano SPD pedals. So my schedule is kind of limiting in regards to night riding, but one day a week I can go out night riding, and when I whip these out, I feel super safe. Like, I'm not even kidding. I know for a fact that I'm being seen from a far distance easily, so I don't have to worry about when I'm taking the roads, connecting to the different gravel roads out here, I don't have to worry about the drivers not seeing me, and are visually unique. So I know for a fact that the drivers are seeing me even from a great distance. And especially looking back at the footage, such a cool effect. I can't believe it. Like, this is such an awesome product. I love the effect it makes, and I fully stand behind this product. Again, Redshift did send me the rear light module as well. It does the same effect, and it increases my visibility. So in combination, you are just glowing out there, especially at night. Hopefully I was able to answer some questions that you just can't Google search anymore because AI responses are terrible anymore. That being said, what are the future plans of these pedals? So right now I'm gearing up to do a project with the Redshift top shelf bars and the bag on my Diamondback, and these are definitely going to go on those as well. I'm gonna have this total neo retro gravel bike bike with Redshift products, but I stand by all the products that they have sent me for review. So be sure to follow me on Instagram. You'll see short little updates here and there on the project and where these products are going, which bike at the time being. Once again, thank you so much to Redshift for sending me these pedals for review and supporting this channel. And also thank you to you as well for commenting, subscribing, and liking all of my videos. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I'll catch you in the next video.